One of the first steps you're going to take in creating your campaign is to do some keyword research. We're going to play with the tool called SEMRush. It's SEMRUSH.com, and this is what you're going to get as your landing screen. So the first thing you're going to do is put in one of your first keywords. So I'm going to go ahead and look up Pearl Harbor because that's the sample we're using for this class. And it's going to say start now. And it's going to pop this up, and it's going to want us to register to get 10 free requests. So you want to go ahead and make sure you're using your Gmail that you've set up for this campaign to sign up for that. So create a password, agree, and register. And I've already registered, so I need to actually just log in. Alright, so my keyword that I'm looking up is Pearl Harbor. So let's go ahead and take a look to see what comes up when I look at this keyword information. A lot of this keyword information comes in really handy, especially when you're putting together some of your posts for your site, trying to create content-rich content to get search engine results. So that's one of our things we're going to work on later on. Go ahead and close that, X out. So if I'm here in my keyword overview, we're going to be working on what's called organic search because we're not doing any kind of paid advertising with this campaign. So let's take a peek and see what we see. We can see that volume, there's at least 368,000 people who are looking for Pearl Harbor on average, and there's about 102 million results. If I was going to go ahead and pay as part of a pay-per-click campaign, I'd be paying about 81 cents per click. So that's a little bit high. So clearly I want to see what else is coming up when we do this. Let's look at our other phrases. We see people are looking at Pearl Harbor, they're looking at Pearl Harbor movie, Pearl Harbor Day, the attack, and notice how they change the way that the words are ordered. So as we've been talking in creating content that is going to come up in search engines, the order of the words does matter. So let's take a peek at a few other things. Let's look at here at our keyword magic tool. And this is what you're actually going to be taking a screenshot of for your publication, for your report that you're working on. So I'm going to go ahead and do my keyword magic, put my search in. And this is what I'm actually going to be taking a screenshot of for my report. So with Pearl Harbor, I can see we're just in the US. I want a broad match. And I can see what are all the different types of keywords that are going to come up. This helps me when we want to figure out, okay, what do we want to talk about as we're writing posts? What type of content are people looking at? So I can see there's an awful lot of people still looking for the Pearl Harbor movie. We've got a lot of people who are looking at the attack on Pearl Harbor. What date is it? Why did they attack? Another movie question. So, but look at your volume of searches as you go along. So a lot of people are looking for the words Pearl Harbor, but by the time we get down to Pearl Harbor tickets, we're getting a lot fewer. So let's go ahead and try another keyword. So I'm going to go ahead and look up Pearl Harbor, WWII, so World War II, and women, and apply. And that one was too narrow. Let's try World War II. And still didn't get anything. So let's go ahead and try WWI nurse. Still not getting much. So let's go ahead and look up nurses at Pearl Harbor. So you can see by going through this process, we can see what are people looking for, how much of a niche do you want to fill as you're going through. So how many nurses died, but we have to hold 10 people looking at that. And we can look at things like questions. So what are the questions that people are asking associated with those types of keywords? So it helps you determine how can you not be trying to be the biggest fish in a tiny, tiny pond that no one's looking at versus being in something that's just Pearl Harbor where you've got 102 million people who you're trying to compete against. So that's where you're going to use this keyword information. So I want you to go in and just play with, let's look at keyword difficulty. Let's look at Pearl Harbor. So keyword difficulty shows us how hard is it to break through. So the higher the percent, is how hard it is. So it's not impossible. You can break through for it. You've got 368,000 other results. So you can make it through. So let's try Pearl Harbor and nurse as difficulty. And it doesn't come up in their Google.com. So let's try Pearl Harbor WW2. And it doesn't like that one either. So before you put all this time and effort into figuring out what you're going to, oh, I've reached my request for the day. So you only get 10 requests for the day. So make sure you know what you want to kind of look at before you start having to give them your credit card. And just have a really good idea before you come in, because you do need to take 3 screenshots for this process. And that's pretty much what you need for SEMrush.